Well, with Jamie being on this week, we're going to base it around Liverpool and United, as Levi said. So just before we get into United, we wanted to ask you about your thoughts of Liverpool and how well they've done this season, or if you think that they're actually overperforming or underperforming. I know it's hard. Obviously, you're not going to say underperforming because you're first at the minute.
Yeah, it's a strange one because I do think that Liverpool are probably on a lot more points than they should be, because I don't think they've played necessarily very well. But I do think they have shown in moments that they can be that team of old. In terms of like the last 3 or 4 games, I would say Liverpool haven't played very well at all. They've just had moments where they've made it happen, which I know people usually say that's the sign of champions, if you can make it happen consistently when you're not playing at your best. My concern is, I don't know if this is Liverpool's best with this current squad, and this is the best it'll get, and there isn't another gear to go up in.
Yeah. With the players they've got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you guys spoke about it on the pod before, and I think it's a general consensus between all Liverpool fans that we needed a world-class DM in the summer. Because I think not only does a world-class DM give you the protection, but he also gives you the passing options that a good DM doesn't. Because you probably look at Rodri, and if you look at Sergio Busquets of old, not only were they brilliant at anticipating where the ball and the danger was going to be, but they were also phenomenal at making passes which break the lines, maybe little 1-2 touches. All the passes meant something. It wasn't just somebody playing like the crab roll going left and right.
Yeah, but even when you had Fabinho, I thought he was a bit of a crab roll going left and right, but he was a bit more, he's not like Endo's a bit, he's not, what's it called? Like, they're just a big presence in midfield.
Yeah.
And Fabinho was.
Yeah, and in one of the very early stages of Fabinho being at Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp nicknamed him the Lighthouse because he was everywhere and he was watching everything and he could see all the danger. And he was very much like that until he sort of lost his legs. But I do also credit that to partially that Liverpool didn't really revamp their midfield for years on years, so we all lost the legs. So when you're trying to play a Gegenpress press under Jurgen Klopp, you're all pushing forward, but when you haven't got the speed or the pace to get there, those gaps get bigger between midfield and defence and midfield and attack, so the space is more and you're trying to track. There's loads you could go into about it, but I think eventually he just sort of lost his legs. But when he was at the top of his game, it was probably, because I don't think Rodri was around at the time, or he was, but he wasn't playing for City.
Yeah,
I think it would have been him and Casemiro up at the top.
Yeah.
I think obviously Kante would still be part of that. But he was getting like injured a lot more. But Casemiro and Fabinho, definitely, I remember at a stage where those two players were definitely at the top of the game.
Do you think Fabinho, I know he didn't have the best season last year, but do you think it was the right time to let him go because the money, that the offer was good with Saudi coming in for players and giving you maybe more than what you'd get for, you know, other clubs coming in? Do you think it was the right decision to let him go at this point in time, or would you said that was based on they needed to bring a replacement in if they were going to let him go?
I think we should have brought a replacement in if they were going to let him go, because we haven't brought.
Who would have been the ideal replacement?
There's a few options that could have gone about. Chet Decore from Palace, also Caicedo when we were going in for him.
Yeah.
Obviously, we wanted him. We made the bid.
Lavia as well.
Yeah, and Lavia. And that.
Do you know who we thought?
Yeah, João Palhinha.
Yeah,
who
do
would
you
have
not
been very
agree?
good. I think he still would be very, very
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I do think he's a very, very good footballer.
I still think you could tempt him away.
I think in
providing
January
that
was
Bayern thing doesn't, because obviously he nearly joined Bayern, didn't he, on deadline day?
Yeah, I think in January there's every chance that we could tempt him away. I can think if Liverpool sign a DM in January, and it's a bold claim, if we do sign a really good DM in January, we might go on to win the league, because I think that's the difference between us and being an actual challenger. I think having a world-class DM. Endo is good and he's steady.
Yeah.
And he's grown into it a bit more, but there's just part of him where he's just obviously not got that ability to take us to the next level.
Is he older as well?
He's 29 or 30, yeah, so he's an older signing.
So he is quite an experienced player.
He is, and he captains the Japanese national team, and he's well loved at Stuttgart, where he came from. He's an absolute fan favourite, and they're doing great this season as well. But
I feel like I've seen more of him now.
Yeah, your midfield, in terms of the quality of the players, I think the better quality now of the players, but it was a better team back then. So, like, I'd say McAllister's better than Wijnaldum.
It depends what you're asking him to do.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
but like
the way footballer, technically.
Yeah, but the way you want to play as a team, or the way Klopp wanted to play as a team, I don't know how he wants to play now. Wijnaldum and Milner and all them, like Henderson, like them workhorses were much better for you. But now you've just gone for more quality instead.
Yeah, I would say that's quite true, to be fair. I think that Liverpool used to be a bit more of a system team where certain players would play a certain role. And I do think that is still true with Liverpool. The left centre mid is always the controller. So somebody who retains the ball and just sort of moves with possession quite positively and efficiently.
Who's the left now? Is it Szoboszlai or is he on the right?
It is usually, depends if McAllister's playing in the 6.
Yeah, so McAllister's mostly playing in the 6.
If he's playing in the 6, then usually we have, it'll be Gravenberch is rotated between.
To be fair, I like the look of.
I
like the look of Gravenberch.
Gravenberch and Curtis Jones, who I actually think's gone really under the radar. I did slate him a lot last season, but his last 10 games where he got told to play this like controller role, which Wijnaldum used to play brilliantly, he's been excellent. His pass completion's really good, and he's not making just safe passes. He's doing all the right things, getting in the right places. Came on again today, he was excellent. Similar to Harvey Elliott, but he would play the more advanced midfielder role, which is the right side of the 3.
Yeah.
Which Szoboszlai is playing. When he's come on as a sub, he's been excellent. Every single game, I have no fault with how well he's played as a sub. When he starts, it's different. It's not the same play. It's almost like he's better on coming into a game and changing the game rather than impacting the game from the very get-go.
I think sometimes some players as well, I don't know whether it's through the help of the manager or if it's the player's intelligence or a combination of the two. Sometimes when you watch the game develop and see how it's playing out, you can have a greater impact, I think, can't you? Then when you go into it, you've watched the habits of how that guy is taking him on and what he's had joy with and what he's not had joy with, how quick he's moving the ball, how quick he's getting pressed. But I would have said, for Curtis Jones, I do think I would consider probably last season was like his breakthrough season. I know he's been in and around the team for a little while now, but I thought last season was, you started to see him get on the score sheet a little bit, getting some important goals because of the injuries and things that you've had. He got a bit more pitch time, and now he's sort of more a consistent figure, isn't he, in the team now? Like whether that's starting or making cameos from the bench every game, you normally see him, don't you now?
Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott are the same for me. I don't see them getting any better. Like I don't see them being like a Gerrard or even Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai is going to be a much bigger player. I don't think they're going to even get to Szoboszlai's level.
I don't know. The last few games, Szoboszlai hasn't been great for me personally. I think he's been wasteful in possession.
He's got more potential than them, though.
Phenomenal. Yeah, you can see it in him.
He started really well as well.
Yeah, he did. And his work rate is really, really good. It's why a lot of Liverpool fans love him, because of just his work rate. It's similar to Darwin Núñez. He could miss chance after chance after chance, but the fact that he puts 110% out there on that pitch for that team, and he really embraces almost the culture. I know he doesn't speak the language, but he embraces the culture. You know, he just wants to be there. He understands how much it means to the people. I think that speaks volumes about the person.
I think there's almost been a turnaround, and maybe not even a turnaround, maybe that's the wrong terminology, but, you know, obviously after they came in, the media sort of forced this agenda of him versus Haaland, because you'd both signed new strikers that season. You then played the Charity Shield, and it was like, who's going to come out on top in that game? And then Darwin Núñez got that red card quite early on in the season and didn't feature for a couple of games, and I was thinking, like, that could have really tailed off and not worked out well if he'd have been at certain clubs. I feel like Liverpool was a club, as much as I don't really like Liverpool as a United fan, I appreciate the sentiment from the fans' point of view where he can tell that he's loved by that football club. But the way he started, in terms of his start to life there, and was quite wasteful, got sent off early on, he's then out of the fray, you were already struggling with injuries and stuff. Some fans would turn on a player like that quite early on, I think, and the fact that that never happened is a credit to everybody involved, isn't it, really? Because I think he looks great now. It's just a case of replicating that. We've said it, I think everybody says it, doesn't it, with Darwin Núñez, that we see how good he is. It's just repetition, getting them reps in, really.
He misses a lot of sitters.
He does, yeah, he does. But I think it's that mentality, the fact that he doesn't seem to get beat up by it. He does miss a lot of chances, but then he might do something which impacts the game in a way. He gets a lot of assists, surprisingly. Yeah. I don't know exactly what his numbers are for the season, but for like club and country, I think he's on about 15 goals and like 10 assists.
Yeah, it's good.
Which isn't bad. It's not a bad showing.
Do you think this is Salah's last season in the Premier League at Liverpool?
I hope to God it isn't, because I think we'll really struggle. Because it's all right replacing certain players, but looking to replace Mo Salah, who plays almost every single game in the season. He plays a full 90 almost all the time. He's injury free. He's always, if he's not scoring, he's assisting. If he's not assisting, he's scoring.
Yeah.
He always has an impact on the game statistically. He might be quiet all game. I can't remember who Liverpool played this season earlier on. He was quiet all game, scored 2 goals. And he was rubbish. He was genuinely rubbish. But he's come up with 2 goals and we won the game. And that's the sort of player he is.
I've been saying it's his last season, but like you, I don't see who you could possibly get in to replace Salah.
They said today in commentary, I kind of partially watched the Palace game. I was like, wasn't paying 100% attention, but I had it on today. And they said it was his 200th goal, I think, for the club, but the 150th in the league, maybe.
I don't know what
something like that.
But yeah. 50, yeah.
Which is crazy. But I mean, it doesn't shock me really when you look at the numbers he's had for the years he's been there now. But I just wonder with, I don't know how much truth was in it, but all those offers, the lucrative offers he was having from Saudi, and obviously he's not taken those. I'm wondering from the club's standpoint, if they come in with a big offer and there's X amount left on his contract, is for a player of that age, even though if you can't replace him, is it a financial decision where they're like, that money is too good to turn down?
Even if someone came in with 100 mil, right, and Salah, even with 100 mil, I still don't see who you could get.
Who are you going to get?
No, I don't think you can get anybody, but I don't know if in terms of a financial decision, the club can say, he's this old, we've had him this time, he's brought us all this success, we can't turn down this sum of money. I don't know if that'll be the way of thinking, but I feel like it could weigh into it.
I understand that, definitely, and I think the club would accept. If Saudi offered Mo Salah next season in the summer, 100 million transfer fee, I think he's gone. No matter what Klopp says, I think he's gone.
Yeah.
But the only way Liverpool can be successful after that is if they sign Mbappe. I know that he doesn't really play on the right, but he's the only player out there.
You need a superstar, you think?
You need an absolute superstar, not someone who's up and coming. Because there's been rumours of Kvaratskhelia from Napoli, who's maybe not had the best season so far.
They're all left though, aren't they?
They're all left-sided, yeah. So
there's no right-sided class players. Like the only person I'm thinking of is Rodrigo.
Yeah, and I'm a bit of a fan of Federico Chiesa from Juventus, but
the
problem with that is he's returning from an ACL, I think, if I remember rightly. So
never know how that's going to go, do you?
You just don't know. You just don't. He could get it again, and then that's him done.
So, just to finish off on your Liverpool thoughts then. So where do you actually think you'd finish, considering your top at the time of recording?
So we're top. I think if we don't sign a DM and it stays as it is through January, I think Liverpool will finish second. I don't think they'll have the legs to carry on all the way. If we sign a DM... Where did
you predict before the season started? Were you in top 4?
Yeah, I did predict top 4. I actually think I predicted third. I think I said that Arsenal and City would have a good run again, but I said that Liverpool would finish because we didn't sign a DM.
Yeah.
But I do think if we do sign a DM in January, we'll win the league.
I think I went full circle on it because I think when I did our predictions, I had Liverpool quite low.
Yeah.
I think I had 6, well. Maybe
you had
worse than that.
Where was United?
I had Spurs low as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
And at time of recording, United have just lost to Bournemouth 3-0.
It could have been 5. At home.
At Old Trafford, the Theatre of Dreams.
But I have double backed, and in the recent weeks I've said for a while, like when Liam asked on the podcast, who do I think City's greatest challenger is, I've said Liverpool for a number of weeks before this has got to this point, on the plain and simple reason that the manager, and they've done it in recent years. You know, Arsenal, let's say, bottled it because it's fun, and people might not like that. Arsenal bottled it because they've not been there, not done that. They've not got players in the team that have done that. Liverpool have. I know they've lost a lot of those figures over the past couple of seasons now, but Klopp's been there and done it with Liverpool. There's still a lot of those faces present. The factor of Anfield's a huge contributor into how you can go on all season. And if it's not going to be City, it's going to be Liverpool still for me, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think if Liverpool don't win it, it's got to be City.
So City's going to be top for you then?
For me, yeah. If it's Liverpool versus Arsenal in a title race, I back Liverpool all the way.
Yeah.
For similar reasons as you've just said. I know they were in it last season, but I just don't see that Arsenal. There's something about them that we don't have. They are brilliant.
We said before you...
They're very young.
Yeah, we said before you arrived, we said that... Jamie actually agrees with me that I said... This season, Arsenal don't look anything like they were last season, but they're still getting results.
Yeah, the football isn't as good.
No.
And it's not as convincing. They're not blowing teams away.
Liverpool second then.
Liverpool second for me, yeah, definitely.
I'll stick my neck out and say that they'll win it.
Yeah, love that.
I've been saying it for a while.
We'll win it. We'll win it by January.
Yeah, so I've always
the contrast in those two statements. I don't think we'll win it, but if we sign a DM, we'll win it in January.
First game he plays, league's over. Let's go.
I've always said you won't get near it this season because of the defensive mid issue. And when you say if you get a centre defensive mid in January, you'll do better or whatever. It's not likely that you get a good defensive mid or a good player in general in January.
No, but they could get Palhinha in January, I think.
They
because
could.
He was going to leave on deadline day anyway.
Yeah, potentially. There is the side of that. And I do agree, getting anyone in January who's half decent is an absolute nightmare, isn't it? And then bedding them into the team. Liverpool do quite well with that.
Yeah,
but then again, they didn't even go for Palhinha when he was available. So
no, that's true. But he's a feasible option, but maybe he was never on the radar. In terms of the other names, in
January, Marco Silva could probably hold out for even bigger money than what he was going to go buy him for.
Yeah, and on a personal note, if Lavia, if you are watching this, which I'm sure you are, hope you're enjoying the bench, mate, and not playing a single game for Chelsea, and you've gone there for the experience. Hope you're having a great time.
Is he not injured now?
No idea. He probably is. I hope he is.
He's been injured most of the season.
Either way, he wouldn't. He's like
he would be starting for Liverpool.
Either way, he's listening to the podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
Either
he
way,
definitely is. Yeah, I've met him. Talking about United on a no banter level. Well, I don't know what my recommendation for your team would be, other than the fact that you're in dire straits, and I think you all know that. You all know it on and off a pitch. You're a badly run team, but I don't think you can keep going into it where you're sacking the manager not week in, but like year in, year out, and trying to change the players every now and again. You change the manager who brings in players who are his players, and then you're getting rid of him. So this new manager comes in with a previous manager's players who might not be good in their system. So they're getting offloaded, but it's hard for you to offload them because you put them on massive salaries.
Yeah.
So you need to go and have a massive cultural reset. And I just think United fans maybe need to be a bit more realistic, and it's hard to do that. And I'm going to regret saying this on the pod, but you are the biggest club in English football, and you're obviously one of the biggest clubs in world football.
Yeah.
You're top two. So the fact that I'm trying to say to United fans that you probably need to settle for maybe just Europa League for a few seasons is quite... Because United fans won't like that.
No, I mean, we've been settling for Europa League
that's
every now and then.
I'm content with that, but at the same time, it's like, I know 10 years maybe isn't a long time, but I think we've gone through this cycle a number of times now and never really come off in a really great position. Even when we finished second and things like that. Finished second under Ollie, we were still miles away from winning it.
Yeah.
Second under Mourinho, miles away from winning it. There was at no point a title race, really. And the trophies we've won, we won Europa League, people don't really care, let's be real.
No.
And I know you guys won't like this as United fans, but to touch on Moyes there, I always thought he had been done a bit unfairly with his role as Man United manager. I know that a lot of players have come out and said that, from day one we knew he wasn't a winner. He was never going to do it. But he got given, 8 months?
Yeah, but...
And I know, don't want to be all Andy Tate and say he was backed by a legend who recommended you. But he was recommended by Fergie.
Yeah.
And you are changing from Fergie, who is the greatest manager of all time in the Premier League, arguably, of all time in general, to David Moyes, who'd ever been at Everton. And he'd done a great job at Everton. Yeah. But then you can't have the same expectation. He is never going to walk into that United job and do the same thing. It was an aging side. Fergie got the best out of them. And to get rid of him after 8 months and not give him a proper stint at it, just for me, it doesn't seem right.
I agree with the timing and everything, but when you watched Moyes, and if you look back at all the managers now, I think Moyes' football was the worst.
I'll say that's a good point for me to interject, because I think current Manchester United's football is worse than David Moyes.
I don't
know your place.
We didn't have anything with Moyes, and especially Moyes' style of football is just awful.
But I think under Moyes there's this remnants of the Fergie team still there. So although he was trying to set up a team that he wanted to play, how he wanted to play football, the habits of the winners in that dressing room showed through at times in that season. And I know he didn't get the full season. With Erik ten Hag now, I don't know what we're trying to achieve in any game. I know a lot of people have said similar things, so it's not anything new. But from one game to the next, I don't know. Apart from the fact I can see that we try and play the ball out. And that's why we brought Onana in. We try and play it out and we pass it out at tight spaces. And
Well,
we try
with
and press.
Moyes, we didn't even have a style. Like, at least Ten Hag has a style, like playing it out and then being
But
up
once
the pitch.
we get from the defensive position, I don't know what the style is.
And also the style's gone. You don't have that.
Yeah.
You were playing long ball today.
Yeah.
You were hoofing it.
Well, as soon as we start
losing,
losing, it's like that goes out the window now. Let's just get the goals back.
Yeah. He actually came out and said that the club actually asked me to install standards in the club, and that's what I'm doing. So, like, all this stuff that, like, players like Sancho's been left out and all that, he's been asked to install standards, and if you're not reaching the standards, and
I'm more than happy with that. My problems with Erik ten Hag don't come down to man management or the things he's done within the dressing room in terms of even the Ronaldo situation, like my favourite player of all time. The way he dealt with that, I've not got an issue with. All the personnel issues that he's addressed, I'm more than happy with him to have all the power and all the authority and deal with it how he seems fit. But I am questioning him tactically in a lot of games now because we should be doing better than we are. If we lose to Bournemouth today, fine. But the manner of these defeats, the Newcastle one was shocking. Honestly, if we would have drawn or lost that Chelsea game, we'd be in crisis 3 days before we are actually now in crisis again because we weren't great in that game. It was better than Newcastle, but how low are the standards? Newcastle was terrible.
Yeah, if you look at all the other United managers, we're not losing these big margins. Like, if you go back the years, Ten Hag is losing by big margins in loads of games, and they're to shite teams.
It's really, really worrying, actually.
Yeah.
You lost 4-0 to Brentford early days. You've lost, I mean, I know you say shite teams. You lost 7-0 to Liverpool.
Exactly,
Which, don't get me wrong.
teams.
Don't get me wrong. Liverpool didn't play well that day.
We played good in that first half.
Yeah, you were great first half. That could have easily been 1-0 United, and I'd be okay with that.
So it'll be 7-1 in the end.
Well, if you want it, mate, it's still 7-1. It's very concerning to me if Jurgen Klopp ever came out and said, which he might have done, somebody can quote me on this, but I hope he hasn't, come out and said, I can't play the football I want to play at this team because I don't have the players. Yet he's signed a bunch of players.
He's got a lot of players now.
400 million, something around that number.
I think Postecoglou actually threw a jab, you know. It was probably like people reading into it.
What about that Erik ten Hag stuff?
Yeah, because Postecoglou came out and went, well, people keep saying, like, oh, you don't have the players to play your way of football. Just play it, mate, like that. So it's like, you can play it, you just don't trust the players to play it. But if you want to, I said to you, didn't I, if you want to play a certain way, like Pep did, he didn't go, oh, I haven't got the players, so I'll try and play a different way. He kept to his way of playing, and it's worked out in the end.
And he upgraded on when he could.
Yeah, so, and if you get sacked by your club by playing the way you want to play, but the players aren't performing, it's no stress off your back, is it?
I think that looks way better for you as a coach. So
it does.
If you are coaching and you've implemented a system that the players just can't do, but you can see there's a standard of play there, and you can see patterns, and you can see what we're trying to do, and you
not quite coming off yet.
All the top teams will look at it and think, well, we've got the players who can do that.
Well,
That's what the scouts are there for.
I think Liverpool demonstrated that when you were short of Van Dijk and Alisson.
Yeah.
Because it was like two missing pieces to the puzzle and everything sort of came together.
Yeah, it did. And
United, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's as simple as that.
No.
I don't think people even know what those missing pieces are.